have a special guest with us. His name is Girish Kalagond. He is All India rank 307. He is currently serving as an IRTS officer. With his very busy schedule, he has come here to guide you all. So you can attend the orientation, and after completing it, you can have a session with him, a Q&A session.
Thank you. So once again, good morning to all. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Girish Kalagond. I am from IRTS 2019 batch. IRTS service, have you heard? No. So it's an Indian Railways Traffic Service. It's a Group A service under the Government of India. I had got 307th rank in Civil Service 2018 exam. So the results were announced in 2019. After my foundation course in Labasna, I took an UL extraordinary leave to improve my rank, and unfortunately because of pandemic I couldn't. So I joined the training. So right now I am in training. I have been allocated Southwestern Railways, which is Karnataka zone. So I'll be working in Karnataka only throughout my career. So this is my brief introduction. So any of you are giving this upcoming prelims? How many of you are giving? Okay. So rest all are giving their first attempt in the next year.
Yes.
Okay. You are targeting 2023.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have attempted state PSC, KPSC, or any other state public service commission? Okay. So let me start with the basic things first, because once you decide to join this UPSC preparation, many people what they do, they directly jump into buying the standard reference books and then starting to solve the question papers and all. It won't work like that. So the first thing as a fresher you have to do is to read the UPSC notification. Have anybody downloaded the UPSC notification?
Yes.
This is the first thing we have to do, and then go through each and every page of the notification. It's almost 130 page. Okay, if you have to understand what is the requirement of this exam, right? Without understanding the problem statement, you cannot have the solution. So you have to understand the requirements of the exam. How will you do that? Through UPSC notification. First thing. Second thing is previous 10 years question papers downloading. You get the printout from the shops and all. You go through these question papers. You try looking at all the options, not only the correct options out of the 4 options. You look at all the options. You will come to know what kind of questions the UPSC is focusing on and how they are confusing you, right? So these things you have to do, and then comes the resource collection. So instead of we have come here to become district collector, but in this process what we will become just the resource collectors. It should not be like that. Your focus has to be the minimum resources and maximum productivity, right? Many people what they will do for polity subject, they will buy the Lakshmikant book as well, they will buy the coaching materials as well, they will buy the DD Basu as well, they will buy Subhash Kashyap book as well. So if you start purchasing multiple resources for the single subject, it will not lead you to any way. So always understand NCERTs are your fundamental resources. NCERTs from class 6th to class 12th selectively. Not all the books are important in NCERT also, right? So after this, I'll just give a brief resources that I followed, so that it will be a guiding light for you as well. So before even starting this, one more thing I would like to tell you, that you go through minimum 25 to 30 previous year toppers interviews in whichever site available. Like there is a Mrunal site, there are many other sites and YouTube videos as well. So you go through minimum 20 to 25 previous year toppers who have got preferably single digit or double digit ranks. You go through their videos as well as their written interviews. I mean, rather than videos, you prefer, there is a site called Mrunal.com. So in that he has given about the previous toppers interviews. So you just go through those interviews. So it will help you to understand the requirements in a very fine manner. I also started this. I got passed out from engineering in the year 2012. So I joined the Mindtree company. Yeah. So I joined as a software engineer in Mindtree in 2013. So I worked till 2015 July. In this, 2.5 years almost in my working experience, I focused less on my work and more on my UPSC, background study. I always had this in my mind that I have to give the UPSC exam, I have to clear it. So, what I did before starting the actual preparation, I started doing the background research. That's very important because this is a vast area, like it's like a ocean without a bottom, without a border. You have to keep swimming. You have to have a lot of mental strength and all. So for that, you need to have a solid background research. So what I did was, I started reading the toppers interviews from Ronald.org, and then going through minimum 20 to 25 toppers PDF. He has given the interviews in PDF formats like questions and answers. So you will understand what they have done. One thing you have to keep in mind as a fresher, that you don't have to do something different than what others have done. You have to do the same thing in a different way. Different way in the sense, everyone has read this,
Just change the color, sir.
Okay.
It's not visible.
Okay. So where is this eraser?
In this.
Eraser. Okay, just here.
Okay,
This section. So I was telling you, if you read these toppers interviews, question and answer format, whatever doubts you will have, all those doubts have been also included in those formats. You will come across numerous doubts. There is no end for the doubts. Till even after selection also you will be having doubts. How did I got through? Like that. This exam is just like that. So many doubts you will encounter during your preparation time. So before even starting the actual preparation, you have to go through all these toppers interviews, so that it will give you a clear guidance, like how to start your preparation and how to move forward. So after this, what I did, 20-25 interviews, and then YouTube interviews of toppers, like not more than 3 to 4 toppers. Especially you can refer Gaurav Agarwal of 2013 batch topper, and then Anudeep Durishetty 2017 batch topper. These two are gems of toppers. They have explained in a very succinct manner, very clear-cut manner, like what are the demands of this exam. So all other toppers have also explained, but in a very superficial manner. Like if they have studied like 12 hours, somebody have claimed that they only studied 4 hours. So don't believe in what all other toppers claim themselves. You try to read and understand from your own perspective. Not everyone be very truthful with their approach. So understand whether you, after reading or after going through those interviews, you will only come to know whether they are telling the truth or just superficially they are hiding the truth, right? So for that, I suggest YouTube interviews of Gaurav Agarwal and then Anudeep sir. So these two toppers have really, and Gaurav Agarwal sir had one blog called The Superman Returns. You can type the crazy photon. If you type in the Google, you will get it. Crazy photon. There is one blog written by him. He has explained like his experiences and all. Even Anudeep Durishetty sir has his own blog, so he keeps writing. So you go through them. So after this, as I told, notification, question papers, previous year, toppers experiences. After this comes the actual, resource collection. What are the resources? there are some myths and realities which I will, as per my own perspectives, I will burst them. First, we will go through the resources. For quality, the Bible is Lakshmikant. Everyone knows that. So without this, I am telling you, you have one standard reference books for every subject, and then basic, everything has to be covered by the NCRTs. Everything standard reference books. If I have not written here NCRT, means that by default it is there. The standard reference books coupled with NCRTs. That should be the resource approach. Second thing, history, modern history. There is a book called Spectrum. Why I am telling you, because this is not the exhaustive list. It doesn't mean that you have to follow only this. There are multiple resources. Why I told you to refer 20-25 interviews, because out of 25 interviews you go through, some people will claim that I studied Spectrum for history, I studied Bipin Chandra for history, some claim I studied D.D. Basu for polity, some claim Lakshmikant. So out of these toppers, you identify how many toppers are claiming maximum resources, right? Out of 20-25, if 18 people are claiming that they read Lakshmikant, you have to read Lakshmikant. If they are claiming Spectrum, you have to read Spectrum. If they are claiming Bipin Chandra, you have to read Bipin Chandra. Like that, right? So every topper has his or her own kind of preparation strategy. So you have to identify what best suits to you, right? I hope you are connecting to what I am telling. So polity, history, and then economy. I always followed economy from the Mrunal. Especially in Mrunal YouTube channel, there are free videos of 2014-15. If you understand Hindi, you will be able to easily identify. In economy, the biggest point is to understand the concepts. There is no rocket science involved in the economy. Just basic definitions, like what you mean by inflation, what you mean by microeconomics, what you mean by macroeconomics, what you mean by budget, estimations, and all those things. You have to identify the terms meanings. Then you will be able to connect to the reality, real current affairs and all. So for science and technology, I always referred NCRTs only, nothing else. NCRTs plus I had taken a coaching class in Delhi, ALS. They had also given not the coaching material but the class notes. The lecturer was very good there, especially in the biology and all. So I used to refer those notes. So for environment, there is something called as Shankar IAS, and there are many sites also. Okay, in the any one resource I told you, you will go through when you go through these interviews, toppers interviews, you will identify the common resource what they have followed. You have to follow that. I had followed this Shankar IAS book. But more than this book, what matters more is the current affairs in the environment sector. Environment has become very much important because Indian Forest Service exam is also merged with this. So you have to focus more on this environment aspect. Next comes polity, history, economy, and then current affairs. For current affairs, there are multiple resources. This is like a real ocean. So for that, you have to fix one resource, one newspaper, and one monthly current affairs channel, one monthly current affairs magazine. Either this coaching class magazine, or some other coaching class magazine, or some other some publications. One magazine plus one newspaper. Which newspaper you follow, that matters a lot of difference. You have to either follow the Hindu or else the Indian Express. Unfortunately, we southern people have been deprived of the Indian Express in south. It is only available in the northern states. But so Indian Express is available in PDF, free of cost. You have to identify where it is, like in Telegram and all you can get it. So Indian Express is good because they will give you a balanced opinion about everything, right? The Hindu is leftist in its orientation. They always keep on criticizing, nothing concrete. They won't offer any other solution except criticizing. But just for the criticism sake, you have to take some points from that, especially editorials and the opinion column. These two, if you refer now, your vocabulary also increases a lot. You have to read the Hindu only because you have to improve your vocabulary, right? And Indian Express to have a balanced opinion. So if you do this thing and coupled with one current affairs monthly magazine, this is this should be your ideal approach for the current affairs. And if you go through the if you go to the market and all, you will see plethora of resources for current affairs. So many magazines, so many resources and all. You will easily get confused, especially if you are in Delhi and all. No, then if you go to the Rajendra Nagar markets there, you will be surprised to know so many magazines are there. You will be like totally confused as to which magazine I have to refer. All the magazines contain the same thing. There is absolutely no difference. Only the design, only the letters and all those differs. That's it. Nothing huge difference in those magazines. So you refer any one monthly magazine of any institute. Even this institute also gives you some current affairs compilations and all. So you have to do that. And then comes the test series. Test series are the major part of your preparation. Many people, what they will do directly, they will just wait for completion of all these reading and then they will start solving the test and all. It should not be like that. If you do like that, you will not have any time at all. So test series, ideally you have to plan one institute's test series. They also conduct this test series. Okay, he told me that they are conducting the test series on a weekly basis also. So if you are aware, so you have to have a 1 year, one long year plan, okay, and then some short plans as well. So one long year test series you have to follow, whichever institute it is, right? It will give you a kind of a proper direction to your preparation, right? So every week you have to start giving the, for example, if you have the test on this is Sunday, next Sunday you have a test on polity. So they will be having a prescribed syllabus for this polity. How much syllabus they will cover. So you have to read that syllabus within that week and give the test, right? So if you do that, you will simultaneously cover all the topics, all the subjects also, and give the test. And if you get the good amount of numbers, your confidence will automatically boost. It will be boosted, and then even if you get the less number also, you will realize where are my mistakes, right? So without doing this, if you read this multiple times, it's of no use. Test series are the biggest part of your preparation. You should not negate that, right? So as I told, test series of any institute, preferably where you are taking the coaching, that will add a kind of a value addition for you, right? And these are resources, these are the pre-preparation, but the main important things which are required for the UPSC preparation, I'll tell you. Biggest thing is this patience. Patience factor is a huge factor in UPSC preparation. So millennials like us, we are impatient in everything. So especially in a fast-paced cities like Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad and all, the life is very fast. So we expect things to be very fast. So this UPSC is not like that. It's a marathon. So if the exam is on June 5th June this year, the result will be announced somewhere, if it is in 22, somewhere in May 2023. The final result of this year will come next year, May 2023. That means it's a year-long process almost So you need to, every time you understand 1 year UPSC preparation means 2 years of investment. So 1 year you will prepare year long, and then you will give the prelims, and then mains, and then interview. It will be like, by the time you get the rank, it will be 2 whole years. So always remember, time is very much important in UPSC preparation, and then you need to have the patience, right? Second thing important, very much important, is courage. The mental and physical courage. By mental and physical courage, I mean you have to have a lot of self-motivation. The motivation which you get through the external sources are of not temporary nature. They, even if I motivate you for another 1 hour, you will be motivated for at least 3-4 days. After that, you will forget everything what I told. That's human nature. Even if Sachin Tendulkar comes and motivate you, the same thing happens. Even if you watch so many movies and all, then also the motivation will remain only for 1 week. So to keep this momentum on, this UPSC preparation, as I told, requires patience, and it also requires efficient time management. For these things, you have to have the internal motivation, right? How do you get that motivation? How do you get that mental courage? That you have to ask this question: why and how? Why do you want to be a civil servant? And how do you want to be a civil servant? You have to identify, try finding answer for this. Why do you want to be a civil servant? Trust me, this question you will even face even in interview also, in UPSC interview. But it is not a simple question. Looks simple prima facie, but it is not that simple. You try answering this question, you will come to know. So if you fortunately find this answer for this question, nobody can stop you. Let me be very clear with you. I also had this thought, why I wanted to be a civil servant. So one motivation for me was to work in the Prime Minister's office or the South Block. South Block, in that in front of President's house, now. I wanted to work there. So to work there, I wanted to be a civil servant in a major policy making role and all. So that was my motivation, which kept me going, on and on. So you identify what is your source of motivation. So whenever you feel low, then you try to ask that question: why do you want to be a civil servant? Then you will, and how? How is your preparation methodology? Nothing else. You just have to focus on keeping it very simple. Very simple. Like don't complicate it. So many resources are there. So much time. So much. So many coaching institutes are there. So many people. So many toppers are there. Everyone pulls you in different directions. But you have to be very, very shrewd to minimize your resources and maximize your productivity, right? The one thing about this UPSC preparation is, most of the people know everything, even the freshers know what should be done. But the problem lies in the implementation, right? You all know that it requires somewhere between 8 hours to 10 hours study, or if you are a working person, 4 hours to 6 hours investment. 4 hours to 6 hours consistent investment for at least 100 to 150 days minimum in a year. If not throughout the year, at least 150 days consistent without a single day break. So, but the problem is implementation. Only if you implement what you know, you will get reward. Otherwise, it keeps on repeating. Even I took 4 years to clear this exam because I was also very confused and very lackluster in implementing my own decisions, my own known things. So, but when I decided to implement, I used to procrastination is very much dangerous thing here. Procrastination continuously. Okay, I'll do this thing by this weekend or by Monday or Tuesday. It will never happen. The good time will never come. You have to think that this is the time to start anything new, right? So you have to identify that. Do not postpone anything for the future. Whatever you want to do, you have to get it done at that moment as per your plan. So for that, you have to have time management, strategy. Time management. How will you do that time management? There are 3 ways to do the time management. First one is 24 hours at a time. That means 1 day at a time. You have to have 1 day plan, then 7 days plan, and then long term plan. 1 day plan, what I mean was, 1 day plan, just day before sleeping, just 1 day before sleeping, you have to have in your mind that you will do these things by tomorrow this time. You should be very clear about that. And otherwise, once you wake up in the morning, you should be in your mind, must have decided that by the end of the day I will be get done with this polity, these many chapters, history I'll read these many chapters, like this. You have to have your own mental plan. And then 7 day plan, like I told you, test series will be there. Like you have to complete these many, if you are giving 2 tests of 50 marks each, if not full length test, you have to at least read those prescribed syllabus in that whole week. And then long term plan. Long term plan means anything beyond 1 month plan. So you should be ready with how many days are remaining for the exam, how much time you are remaining with it, and how to plan those remaining months. Within this month, see, I always had this plan. See, for example, if I was giving June exam, and if I was if I had decided in 2021 itself that I have to give exam on 5th June 2022. So my plan would be in such a way, long-term plan in such a way that by April 1st or April 2nd or April 5th, I have to be done with my reading. So whatever these 2 months in the last will be remaining, those 2 months are absolutely for the revision sake, total revision. So you have to plan in such a manner. So whatever, see, the goal is set already, that for last 2 months have to be reserved for the revision purpose. So once you set the goal, you have to plan for the remaining months, right? So then you will be able to channelize your preparation in a proper manner. Otherwise, what will become? So many things are there to cover. So everything will come up your mind and then mix up, and everything will become haywire. So you won't be able to focus. But if you have this 1 day or 7 day long-term plan, then you can easily plan your time. Especially this is very important. 1 day plan, that will add up to your 7 day plan as well as the long-term plan. So take always 24 hours at a time. There will be unforeseen emergencies. You have to figure in that also. You have to, while planning your time and study and all, you have to include all those unforeseen emergencies also. And sometimes you have to keep some time for entertainment. And that entertainment also has to be channelized towards learning. Entertainment doesn't mean that you have to just keep on going to the movies and all, or friends parties. No, social gathering has to be stopped at least 4 to 5 months before the exam. Can't avoid that, right? So by entertainment I mean in YouTube only there are multiple movies on Sardar Patel, on Mahatma Gandhi, on Nehru, on historical aspects, or documentaries are there. Especially, have you ever seen that Samvidhan नाम का एक series है. There is one series by name Samvidhan, right? And there is a 26 episode series by Shekhar Kapoor titled Pradhan Mantri. If you watch those Pradhan Mantri, 1 hour session episode is there. Almost Pradhan Mantri and Samvidhan. These are must, right? So if you watch these things, you will get total entertainment, like real footage of 1971 war, 1965 war, 1962 war, the reasons behind them, the Indira Gandhi's assassination, aftermath of the India, the current affairs from 1947 to 2013 they have covered. Whatever major events have happened in India have been covered in 26 episodes in a beautiful manner. So you will be entertained also, your knowledge will also increase. By entertainment mean that only. So all your energy, all your kind of resources have to be channelized towards single goal, right? You have decided voluntarily that you want to clear this exam. Always remember, this exam will be given by 1 million people. 1 million means 10 lakh people. I mean 10 lakh applications will be there every year for UPSC. So out of 10 lakh, 5 lakh people voluntarily will not write the prelims because they feel like I am not prepared, and they will never write the UPSC exam. They keep on postponing. So don't be among those persons. So out of 5 lakh, those write the exam, at least 3 lakh will be having concrete plans. The rest 2 lakhs will be like trial and error method. They just want to give the exam and see. They want to test the waters. So the rest remaining 3 lakh people, at least as per my calculation, they will be having concrete plans. They will be taking coachings. They will be discussing with the friends and all. And out of 3 lakh also, almost 1 lakh people. 1 lakh people will be damn serious, very sincere, if not serious at least. Sincerity is very much important than seriousness. Don't be serious ever in life or anything, but be sincere about what you want to achieve, right? So, out of these 1 lakh, many people will be from IITs, IIMs, big institutes and all. So that will make you, that should make you very much productive, thinking that you are competing with the best of the talent. Trust me, I have studied in Kannada medium till 10th standard in government school in my village only. So after that also, first year, second year, and then in engineering also in my home district Bijapur, which is one of the most backward areas in Karnataka right now. So despite that, I always had this concept, always held that IITians, IIM people, IIM graduates, and those coming from abroad will be very much intelligent and all. They of course are. There is no negation of that fact. So that used to push me to work hard rather than get bogged down by that fact. It used to push me. Okay, you are competing with those people. So 5 hours work per day will not be sufficient. So I used to think, okay, push harder, 10 hours. That way, you have to increase your productivity by comparing in this manner, right? So out of 1 lakh, around 10 to 12,000 will be selected for the mains, right? So imagine the amount of competition. Though there are exams like SBI, RBI Grade B, and all those exams where 35 lakh, 40 lakh people will appear for the banking exams, right? So for UPSC, just 10 lakh people will apply, only 5 lakh will write. But the difference between those exams and this exam is that not the brightest of all the people will compete for other exams. UPSC competition के लिए just I told you 1 lakh people. These 1 lakh people are the brightest people as per the surveys and all. There are multiple exams, SBI, Grade B, I told you. In those exams also people compete, but there the syllabus is prescribed. Like it's not a generic. But in UPSC they have kept it open-ended. So it requires a lot of meticulous approach, right? I hope you are connecting. It requires a lot of meticulous approach, and trust me, it is not a rocket science. It is very simple, provided if you understood the requirements of the exam. So you must be wondering, I am only focusing on requirements. And you must be thinking, why I am not telling you the requirements. Actually, they have kept it open-ended, as I said, so nobody exactly knows what are the requirements of the exam. So you have to have those basic things in mind. What are the requirements of this exam? Why you want to be a civil servant? If you have become an IAS officer, what are the powers of IAS officer? What are the powers of IPS officer? What you will do in railway ministry? You have to think like an administrator, right? So for that, whatever is needed, you need to look, you need to do those things, right? So these are the basic things I have covered you, and I'll just go through some myths myths associated with UPSC preparation. Some myths regarding coaching. The people must be thinking like only those people who will get coaching will be getting through. It's not so. Even by sitting in home also you can qualify, provided if you have the solid backup plan. It's like coaching will give you the direction. Ultimately on that direction you have to travel. So it is you who are supposed to travel, not the coaching class persons. So coaching will guide you, like this is the way you go, probably you may find a destination. So you yourself has to identify what is the destination, like whether you are doing the correct thing or not. So for that, coaching is a kind of 20 to 25% helpful. The rest 70 to 80% is completely dependent on you. Otherwise, all those people who are getting coaching in Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, everywhere must have been through this exam, and all the brightest students. But it is not the case, because coaching, as I said, will only show you the direction. It is you who have to identify whether that path is really suitable for me. If it is not suitable for you, you have to just change the course, right? Change the course of your direction. See, I told you Gaurav Agarwal, he gave a speech. He almost enrolled in more than 15-20 coaching institutes in Delhi itself. He used to go and sit for one day. He used to identify, okay, this is not my role. He of course had money and all. That's a different story. But what he meant was, you have to identify after going through previous 20-25 years, 25 toppers interviews and all. You have to understand what are the basic requirements of this exam, right? Then you decide whether the coaching path is correct or suitable for me or not. So, second thing is, it requires 18 hours of study, 15 hours to 18 hours of study per day. Not so. Many people have covered it with 4 to 6 hours of study. But what matters here is consistency. Consistency is very important, because without which, trust me, you may clear the exam, but you will not take at least 1 or 2 years. You will take more than 4 or 5 years to clear this exam. Even I took 3 to 4 years to clear this exam because of lack of consistency. As I earlier said, this exam is not a difficult exam. Only thing which makes difficult is the open-ended thing. You have to have your own opinion on everything. You have to have data, the facts. We can't speak just like that in UPSC, answer booklet. We have to have a solid data. For that, you have to continuously read, continuously revise. We of course have 24 hours time, and that 24 hours time you have to give for your individual time, family time, friends time, and all those things. So out of 24 hours, how many hours you will be remaining with? Minimum 4 to 6 hours. Minimum 4 to 6 hours everyone will have free time. So those 6 hours have to be absolutely utilized with 100%. Trust me, if you sit for 12 hours study, your productivity will be like around 7 hours only. If you are studying in a library for 12 hours consistently, in a day I am telling, your productivity will be somewhere around 6 to 7 hours only. So imagine what I mean. For 4 to 6 hours consistent study means you have to put in at least 10 hours. At least 10 hours of study. So then it will automatically turn into 4 to 6 hours. No need to from morning 7 o'clock to night 12 o'clock, you don't need to sit in the library for studying purpose. You just have to identify, and out of those hours, you just have to divide what portion you will study. That's where this 24 hours plan comes into picture. Like what you see in a day, if you start reading only one subject, it will be very monotonous, very boring. If you read polity only from morning to till night, your mind will not sustain that. So you have to diversify at least 2 to 3 subjects per day. You have to cover. If you read 45 minutes one subject, you can or you can take 2 hours and then switch it to current affairs and then test series or else some other subject like that. So you have to plan in that way. And it will take 3-4 years to clear this exam. It's also a myth. You don't need 3 to 4 years to clear this exam like us, because lack of this factor. If you are consistent enough, you can clear this in first attempt only. Even if you are a kind of a college graduate just to join this UPSC preparation with proper study pattern, you can clear this exam. There are examples. Out of 700-800 toppers comes every year, minimum there will be 200 people or 300 people who will clear this in first attempt, and that to college graduates. Some people will be in their final sem of the college. So understand that this exam is like one size fits all. Policy will not work here. It is an individualistic exam. Though it's a competition, the person sitting, it's a relatable exam. The person sitting beside you may or may not decide your ranking also. But at the same time, it's totally individualistic. The source, the reference books, everything is same for everyone, almost in a identical manner. But the only thing that differs is your perception. I will also read the polity, same book. You will also read the polity, same book. But how I pursue that? Most of you are engineers actually. So in engineering colleges, what happens? If I study some engineering subject, and if my friend studies, we will both pursue in the same manner, because that is an objective thing. 2 + 2 = 4 will be same for me, more for my friend also. But here in this case, it is not so. Here it is analytical. How much analysis you do, how much kind of balanced opinion you have, it depends on that. So always focus on that analytics and forming the opinion and all, right? So these are the main myths. And then for current affairs, people think that this exam is totally current affairs. No, it's not that so. If you look at the previous year question papers, you will come to know that earlier it used to be totally static, and now from last 2-3 years it looks like it's current affairs, but it is not so. It's total mix of the both. Whatever things happened in the past will be connected to the current events. See, for example, Russia-Ukraine crisis is happening right now. So Russia-Ukraine crisis, there may or may not be direct questions on that, but there will be definitely questions related to the World War II, right? This Russia-Ukraine question may not be directly asked by UPSC, but whatever events are connected to the Europe in the World War II will be asked by UPSC in the prelims as well as the mains. In mains, though, it is almost current affairs only. If you look at the mains question papers, you will identify direct current affairs questions only. You just have to read the newspaper carefully, form your kind of opinions, and then write it. In objective type CA, you have to be very sure about what happened, and you have to connect it to the present area, right? So Russia-Ukraine example is just one example. You have to look at that India and then China equations, the past history and all. So once you go through those materials, you will identify. So these are the basic things I have covered. So now I will leave the floor open for any kind of questions. You can interrupt me anytime. Just any kind of doubts you have, don't hesitate.
So what about CSAT if you are not good at mathematics?
Right. CSAT is also very much important. Like it also comes under some myth part only. Like being an engineer, you don't need to prepare for the CSAT exam. I myself have failed in CSAT in my 5th attempt because I had taken it extremely casual. Like I always used to worry about CSAT, but never used to prepare for CSAT, thinking that I am an engineer, I can easily qualify. It's not the case. Even IITians have failed. My friends from Delhi who had studied in IIT have failed in CSAT. So the solution is, when the exam is 3 months, 3 months in the sense, if the 3 months from the prelims date. So you have to start at least 20 minutes per day. 20 minutes. YouTube videos are there. So if you type like CSAT classes in YouTube. You will get, hell number of channels are there. You identify one or two channels. Try solving the logical reasoning questions. Always depend on the mathematics.
So what if you are not good at mathematics?
If you are not good at mathematics, then the solution lies in logical reasoning. And then the English comprehensions are very much risky. So do not ever depend on the comprehensions. They are very, very risky. Even if you are an Oxford graduate also, you can't be able to identify the correct answer, right? So you always depend on the logical reasoning, and then some decision making kind of questions will be there. But mathematics, don't think that you are not good at it. I was the victim of that thinking myself, I am telling you. Because despite being engineer means you definitely have some basics about mathematics, some basics. So use that basic mathematics and try solving quantitative aptitudes. That will help you also for your backup plans. Trust me, these banking exams are also not that easy. If you do not practice these aptitude and all, it is very difficult, because in banking exam they will only focus on the aptitude. So as a backup plan, you have to be very solid about the aptitude part also. So when the exam is 3 months away, 20 minutes per day is enough for an engineer. But for other graduates, you invest at least 40 minutes, double the time. Right? It looks very simple, but it is not so. It requires a lot of internal motivation again to study for CSAT. Back of the mind will be having, 40 minutes if I give to the CSAT, then what will I do for the other subjects? So much to cover. So this thought process will always be there. But don't be victim of that thought process, I am telling you again. So always give at least 20 to 30 minutes when the exam is 3 months away, right? Otherwise, it will be very difficult. It will, burden you like anything. Especially if you are fearful regarding the mathematics and all, no, then it will drain your energy, right? So don't allow that. CSAT is extremely important. And if you ask me the solution for resources, there are multiple books available, for CSAT ke liye. Famous that book is the Quantitative Aptitude by IAS Academy, right? IAS Academy, you can refer that, or else some compilation, previous year compilations would be there. And then main thing is minimum 5 full-length test paper, and that too in UPSC manner. Like if you have to give anyway minimum, this test series part is there, no? Once you are done with the weekly tests and all, when the exam is like 2 months away, I told you revision ke time mein, you just have to give the test series in the afternoon schedule. Usually what I used to do, I thought I will sleep in the afternoon. To avoid the sleep, I had divided this plan. From 2 to 4 o'clock, I will give the exam. Because after the lunch, I usually used to get the sleep. So to avoid that sleepy attitude, I always decided to give the exam in the afternoon. So that your productivity will also increase, and you will know what are your fault lines. That because exam will be like 9:30 to 11:30, and then from 2:30 to 4:30 probably. So at that you have to channelize your mental makeup, mental status towards that lines. So you have to practice it well in advance only. These test series are practice grounds for you. Whatever mistakes you want to commit, you have to commit in the test series itself, not in the actual exam. So you have to identify what all mistakes you are committing. It's not simply that test series are meant for scoring 180 out of 200 or else 40 out of 200. No, score doesn't matter, and score should not matter. What should matter is what you are learning from that. Whether something productive is happening with respect to test series or not. Trust me, these are all very simple, basic things which people fail to identify, and then we keep on repeating the same mistakes again and again, right? So as I said, 5 full-length test papers minimum, and then minimum 30 to 40 full-length test papers of any test series, right? That's a must.
And what
So,
about regional language and essay?
That I will cover in the mains section. Right. I'll talk about the means.
So people used to say that the one who can't handle stress now, so they can't handle their success later also. So how do you handle your stress and how you finding it now?
That's what I told you, no? You have to identify the answer for that question. Why? Why do you want to be civil servant? There will be stress every day, trust me. In this UPSC preparation, there will be stress throughout. Stress is like your, boyfriend or girlfriend. I am telling you. You have to deal with it on a daily basis. There is absolutely, if you are from middle class families, no, that will be very much high. Especially if you have worked and I had 2.5 years experience. So after that I had resigned. So in 2016 I took it very casually. So 1 year gone. 2017 I started very in a serious manner. So I went till UPSC interview. I cleared the prelims, mains, interview, and then failed. And the next 2018 exam was just 35 days away. To be precise, 37 days away. I still remember. So imagine the amount of pressure I had. Almost it's been 3 years without any jobs. I was dependent on my family for my funding and all. And that too I was staying in Delhi, one of the most costliest. So imagine the amount of stress I used to have. So at that time I always believed okay, 37 days are remaining. I have already reached till the interview stage. That means I can clear this exam once more. So my friend advised me to take one day at a time now for next 35 days. Do not think about what happened in the past. Do not think about what may happen in the future. Always focus on 24 hours at a time. So that was a really, kind of conscious experience for me. Those 34 to 35 days, I always used to put on my headphone and listen to the motivational songs like Raji movie is there. There are multiple, patriotic songs and all. I used to listen to them. Kind of these research and analysis wing and all, raw and all. They used to motivate me a lot internally. I always used to find myself as some agent and all. So always I used to listen to the songs, I was very kind of channelized towards patriotism and all, nationalism, patriotism. So that used to give motivation, self-motivation for me. So I always used to, okay, come what may, I will fight. So I had this kind of attitude. So you too should have that, attitude. Attitude is everything. Everyone says that, but you have to experience that. This UPSC, trust me, will teach you to experience the life in a different perspective altogether, right? So you have to sacrifice so many things. At the same time, you have to learn to deal with so many factors like stress, kind of anxiety, all those future uncertainty. Everything you have to learn. You have to be conscious about what you are doing, right? Consciousness is very much important. In this UPSC, especially I used to watch Sadhguru Jeki Vasudev's videos as well, in between. Like, he's a spiritualistic person, if not spiritualistic, a realistic person. So he used to give so many, realistic advices, realistic suggestions. I always used to try to look at from my own perspective, like whether he's telling the truth or not. I used to apply it to my life and used to, he's making some sense. So sometimes I criticized him also because I decided myself that he's not making sense. He used to speak some otherworldly things which I have not experienced yet, so which I used to criticize. That's fine. But whatever motivation he used to give, I used to receive that through YouTube videos, of course. So you have to identify your ways of handling this stress. And one more way of my handling stress was to talk to the friends. I never used to keep quiet. I always used to eat my friends' heads. They used to say, they are all working as software engineers in Bangalore only. So I always used to call them, talk to them for half an hour, my college friends. So they always used to criticize, your life, you handle it. But I never left them alone. That's what friends are for. A friend in need is a friend indeed. So you have to have one or two friends who can help you in these kind of situations, right? So these are multiple ways of handling the stress, right? Yes.
So can you tell me about Indian art and culture?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So for art and culture, there is one book written by Nitin Singhania. Nitin Singhania. It is kind of a PhD level book. I mean, it's 400-500 page book, but all the details he has covered in that. He is a IAS officer of probably 2014-15 batch. He has written very beautiful book. And also, coupled with all these things, I am telling you class notes. In class, these lecturers will keep on telling you, dictating you the notes. Those notes will act as a precious guide, right? Even I got some coaching from ALS Delhi, which is not a coaching institute per se. It was kind of college only. So there was no seriousness and all by the candidates and all. It was a big coaching institute with 800 seating capacity at a time, 800 student capacity. There were 3 big LED screens and all. In that situation, we used to study. But at that kind of environment also, I used to make notes out of what teachers are teaching. So those notes acted as a kind of good resource for me. Because if you write something on your own, that will go deep into your memory. So always try to focus on what the teachers are telling in the class. Especially political science optional. You must have heard the name of Shubhra Ranjan. So I took coaching from there, Shubhra Ranjan. The way she used to teach, she used to dictate the notes. There were multiple thick books, like thousands of pages books referred for political science by previous year toppers and all. And I also bought those books, but never read. They are still the same, in my home. There are 3-4, big books which I never read. So what I used to do while madam was teaching in the classroom itself, I used to make note out of everything. And people used to ask the question. I was hesitant. I never used to ask questions thinking that what others may think. Now I am realizing it was a stupid mistake. So never, if you have any question, don't suppress it. Express it. So when other people used to ask questions to the madam, I used to note down the question also and used to note down the answers given by teacher also. So that way I used to make my own notes apart from the class notes said by madam. So that used to be a kind of a huge resource for me. Everything what you read in this UPSC preparation is very helpful for you, right? Even if you are walking in some street, downstairs, and if you see some boards and all related to the Modi's advertisement, all that can also become a question in UPSC. If Modi has given some Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao related, advertisement, that you have to just read. Okay, I have read this. You have to keep reading, keep continuously channelize your energy towards that. So always make notes out of what the class teachers are telling, apart from these standard reference books plus NCERTs. And for art and culture books, especially in NCERT, introduction to fine arts, something is introduction to Indian fine arts. Title, 11th standard book is there for culture. It's a very good resource for the art and culture. Minimum 2 to 3 questions directly will come from that book. So you have to understand. You got your doubt solved now. So you have to understand what that book contains, right? It includes almost from the Bhimbetka caves, from prehistorical levels. You have to identify how they are, and while reading, I am telling you, have a map. Even if you are reading economy also, have a map with you. Map in the sense atlas, right? And also wall maps. Whenever you, in your living room, if you are studying in library, that's well and good, fine. If not, in your living room, you have to paste minimum 4 maps. One world political, that map. One world geography map. One India political and India geography. So 4 maps you have to paste on the wall. What I used to do, I always used to study in the reading room, library. So when I used to go for lunch and all, I always used to take my plate and sit in front of those maps and simultaneously look at the maps and eat. Like that. Otherwise, if I am having a tea or coffee in the room, or if I am talking on phone, I always used to look at the map. Not like a formal, map study we also do. We have to do that. There is no escape route. But informally, whenever you will be doing some unproductive things, like talking on phone and all with friends and all. At that time also you can just simply look at that, right? Now Russia-Ukraine conflict is going on, so we have to look at pura that Europe region and then Russia's part and then that Middle East part and all, right? Central Asia, Middle East and all, and always these America, China, Russia, and then Africa. These regions are very much important for UPSC, especially India, China, US, and this Europe part. UPSC is hell-bent to ask, especially the Indo-Pacific part now, because India is poised to become a global power in this century. So you have to identify what are the resources and all in a geographical manner. Even if you are studying economy, even if you are studying art and culture, we have to have that atlas. So if you are studying something related to Bhimbetka caves, you have to look at in the Indian map where it is, in which region it comes, right? We have to have that inquisitive, inquiry attitude. You have to probe the things. You should not simply just read and forget it, right?
Sir,
Yeah.
cracking in fluent English is really matters to clear UPSC.
This one I forgot to include it in myth. So many people think that very much fluent English or this sophisticated English is required. No, absolutely no. What they require is simple language, expressive language. You don't need Shashi Tharoor's kind of language to clear the English. Trust me, it is not needed. I know many people who had come from abroad. I mean, they graduated from abroad, but still they are not able to clear the exam. Why? Because it doesn't mean that they are not good at English. They are extremely good. They are from St. Stephen's and all, Delhi colleges and all. But still, they are not able to clear. That means English is not the only criteria. English you have to have. I told you, if you read the Hindu, your vocabulary will improve, right? If you have that much knowledge about English, that's well and good. No need to deep dive into English and then make your English like Shashi Tharoor. No, not needed, right? Especially simple language. Whatever you express, the one thing you always have in your mind, that what you write, what you convey, have to be understood by the invigilator in a first training itself. For that, you need kind of legible handwriting, and then simple words. If you use jargons, English jargons, the evaluators will not be knowing them, and they have to take a dictionary and find the meaning it. So they will feel that it is outrightly rejected. It's not at all accepted. So they will simply give 0 marks and move on. They also have their time constraint. So it is better to use simple language, simple words, but convey it in an effective manner. How much strong, how much big words you use doesn't matter. How effective words you use, that matters a lot, right?
Sir, the kind of college courses that we take, does it really matter in preparation of UPSC?
Yes. Like if you are from humanity, then it will kind of give a value addition, but not the sole criteria. So if you look at the profile of the successful candidates from last almost 5-6 years, more than 70% are from engineering background, right? So if humanity would have helped them, almost only 15 to 20% humanity graduates are getting through. So it doesn't matter which graduation background you come from. What matters is how you will implement that knowledge. I know, again I told you, JNU and then Delhi University, political science graduates, they are struggling to score 200 marks in the political science optional. I had scored 309 and 312 in 2017 attempt and in 2018 attempt, despite being an engineer. Getting 250 marks itself is a big achievement in political science subject. So I had scored consistently 312 and 309. So that means it doesn't have any much correlation. But some people are there having political science as their graduation and post-graduation subject, and they also cleared with the 330 plus score. That means it all depends on how you implement that knowledge, right? So what matters most again is interest. How much interested you are in the subject, that matters a lot. It helps in choosing optional also. I think some of you must have chosen your options now.
So then give some tips about that.
Yeah, optional,
Yeah.
choosing optional, right? So first and foremost criteria is to have the interest. That's why I asked you to look at the this thing, Gaurav Agarwal's interview and Nadeep Durishetty sir's interview. So they have clearly spoken about choosing optionals and all. How you should choose optional, because I also did the same thing. I'll explain how I did choose my optional. I had my friend in Bangalore only. He was also working. I was also working in 2015 time. So we always he also started preparing for UPSC. I also started in preparation in the sense background research. So we used to discuss in Telegram, and then whenever he used to drag me for discussion, I always used to take him towards the international relations. Always used to channelize our discussion towards international relations, raw, and then operations, all those things. So I had chosen my optional as PubAd, by the way, public administration. So public administration and my area of interest, there was no correlation at all. PubAd I had taken because I had watched so many previous year toppers telling PubAd will give you good result. So I thought, okay, let me take PubAd only. And after the success also, we have to read public administration anyway. So it is better if I start reading public administration now only. So I had taken that. I had brought the books also. So when I used to discuss with my friend, we always used to discuss the international relations. So one fine day, he told me, Girish, why don't you look at the political science syllabus once before moving ahead? Then it realized to me, I had never read the notification also. I had almost wasted 5 to 6 months. So that's why I told you in the beginning to read the notification. So in that notification, I went through all the optional subjects. I looked at Kannada, political science, PubAd, and then sociology, anthropology. These 5 things were like very much interesting. So I thought, out of this, I had chosen PubAd even without looking at the syllabus. So when I started looking at the syllabus, when I saw that political science syllabus, it was like love at first sight for me. Seriously, I look at, and everything what I wanted to read was included in that syllabus, okay, in political science syllabus. In PubAd also there was, but I did not have some concepts like theories and all. In political science, everything what I wanted to read was there, including international relations. The whole section was reserved for the India and the world, international relations. So I decided on spot itself, and then I went through the question papers, 5 years question papers, and then saw at that particular time I was able to solve at least 30 marks questions, 20 to 30 marks questions. I am able to write at that spot itself. So you have to have that feeling when you look at the syllabus, when you look at the question paper. You have to have that feeling. It should strike in your mind that okay, I am able to write at least 15 marks or 20 marks question right now only, even without any kind of preparation. Whether it is a right answer or wrong answer, it is immaterial. But you should have that feeling in yourself, right? Are you getting it? So you should have that feeling, okay, I can write this. At least 100 words I can write for this 10 mark question, that's it. So you should try also, right? So only if you have this such feeling, then you have to choose the optional. No matter what others say. Some may say that right now public administration is one of the most worst hit optional. Many people will say like that because it is giving you consistently poor results. But if you really like the public administration, what others say is immaterial. What matters is interest. If you just choose, your spouse or girlfriend, boyfriend just by the looks and all, that interest will fade away. You have to really understand it, right? It's like your spouse only. I told you, your companion, your optional should be your companion along with the stress and all. So you have to learn to deal with it. trust me, no optional will give you 100% satisfaction in your approach. Maximum 70 to 80%, you will feel like I can easily relate to these topics. But the rest 20% topics will be like unknown to you, no matter which option subject you choose. Even if you choose Kannada also, even if you choose language also, you will feel like that. So it should be okay with you. But if you should be like very much clear about the rest 70 to 80%, then you are eligible to take that option.
Can you tell me about UPSC interview experience, sir?
Interview and mains I'll talk very shortly in 5-10 minutes. Okay. So other than that,
Sir, how important is science and technology for preparation?
very much. I'm telling you very much because UPSC is recruiting scientific administrators these days. Scientific administration, what I mean by that was they have to have the rational approach. The administrators should be well versed with the science concepts, right? So this 21st century is all about how well versed you are with the technology, science, the artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, all the robotics. This fourth industrial revolution is coming now. Fourth industrial revolution. That fourth industrial revolution is nothing but automation, that usage of artificial intelligence, all those things. So science and technology is very much important, and the resources for these science and technology is very scattered. So you have to refer to your class notes, NCERT just for static purpose, especially 8th, 9th, 10th and 7th NCERTs. 11th and 12th NCERTs are of not that great help, right? So you focus on NCERTs from class 7th to 10th for science and technology, and then current affairs, magazines. If you read that Vision, there will be sections. Even if you read these Believers IAS magazine, they must be having some section called science and technology. So you read that very carefully, right? Rather than, and another myth is that this by hearting. If you by heart, you will clear this exam. How much you will by heart? This exam is like ocean, vast ocean. You can't by heart everything. So you have to internalize things. I told you interest as well as internalization. I told you I scored 309 and 312 in political science only because of this factor, internalization. What the madam used to teach me used to be pursued by me. Perception, like how you take it through your mind, and used to connect it to the current affairs. It's not that simply mechanical reading. If you are reading Russia-Ukraine right now, what are the causes behind this conflict? What happened in 2008 Georgia? What happened in 2014 Crimea invasion by Russia? What happened gradual expansion of NATO towards Russian doorsteps? What are the causes for this escalation? How it can be solved? You have to internalize the things. Simply not reading what is given in the newspaper and all. Whatever is coming in newspaper is just an opinion of some person. You also have to have your own opinion. If you want to clear this exam, trust me, you should. We are all judgmental by human nature. You will judge me, I will judge you, you will judge others, others will judge you. Like we are all judgmental in nature. So you have to have opinion in your judgment.
So the thing is, while writing mains answers will be like we have to give some way forward our opinions, stuff like that.
Right.
But the thing is, sometimes we have to go against government decisions or
Yes.
go against governments what they're doing, something like that. But some people like faculty say don't go against government and all. Don't give answers like that. But they say like after your once you get your power, you can change whatever you want. You can go against government. But once we get into power, we have to do what government says. So how these things work?
Exactly. Even in your answers also, whether it is a good policy or a bad policy, you have to have a balanced opinion. Balanced, I mean, there is nothing wrong in criticizing government. You criticize the government for some policy. Okay. At the same time, in the same answer, you have to include what government could have done. What government could have done in a rational manner. So you give your own solution. There is nothing wrong in criticizing government, right? Because government is not infallible. Government, after all, is consisting of humans, right? The Modi or whatever ministers are all, they are all opposition, are all human beings. So human beings will commit mistakes. So it is perfectly all right if you criticize the government. There is some in mains are questions you must have observed: elucidate, explain, critically analyze, comment. There are keywords. You have to understand what you mean by those keywords before writing the answer. So if there is a question, critically analyze this policy of government. Critically, they themselves are inviting you to criticize this. Criticize the government policy. At the same time, just criticizing and going is not a solution. You offer your own solution. Are you getting it? You criticize, like say that this government policy is not working because of this faults, okay? And the probable solutions for these are, you just write it in the point format. Your own solutions that may be unique, or maybe you might have recalled from your newspaper readings. So in conclusion, you should always be like optimistic. Okay, this Make in India policy has not worked till now, but the government is trying its best to make sure that it runs in a smooth manner. The Swachh Bharat campaign. Earlier, the Swachh Bharat campaign, rather than becoming a real implementation, has become a kind of example for advertising and all. But it can be improved in a certain manner. You should have factual data. You should have optimistic. The situation will improve considering the fact that from 2014 to 2022, the construction of toilets have been increased. The usage has increased from this percentage to this percentage. And that you have to just keep on giving the optimistic solutions. You should not simply criticize, provide the solutions also, right? That what makes difference from the other common citizens and UPSC aspirants, right? There is absolutely nothing wrong in criticizing government. Even in the interview also. In interview, they ask, they will seek your opinion, whether government was right or wrong. They can directly ask you. If the government is wrong, you cannot say they are right. See, if they are discriminating on a religious policy, you cannot be neutral there. You should take a constitutional stand. Constitution says that there should not be any discrimination based on religion, caste, these things. So if the government is particularly doing some discrimination, prima facie it appears, then you should criticize that, right? So you should have that balanced opinion.
Sir,
Yeah.
when we're criticizing about any kind of regional issues, can we give any kind of examples, like currently hijab example?
In this, hijab examples, you should take a stand of High Court. What High Court decided? That wearing hijab is not an essential part of religion. But since the matter is sub judice, we are not yet well versed to comment on this. You should take a stand like this in your interviews. So you can always toe the lines of Constitution, right? What Constitution says. Only when you go through those this thing, polity and all the constitutional articles and all, you will come to know what are the rational arguments and irrational treatment by the government, right? So anything else? Otherwise, I will briefly talk about mains related things.
So what about ancient and medieval history?
Ancient and medieval history is not for prelims, no? It's for mains actually. But that ancient and medieval history will be covered by this only, this art and culture, right?
What about geography?
Geography is also very much important. For geography was the one subject which I feared most during my preparation. Despite being an engineer, I always used to fear for this. I always treated it like a mathematics because it talks with numbers and all, no? Topography and all those technical terminologies. So for this NCERT, and many people used to recommend thick books again for geography. I never read a single book on geography, never. So only thing I refer for geography is 11th standard physical geography by NCERT, and then 11th and 12th standard both in geography textbooks, and 6th to 10th. So almost 6th to 12th NCERT books. Other than that, it's not needed. Nowadays, geography has been butchered. Like, if you observe the questions from 2010 to 2014, there were almost 14-15 questions from geography section alone. So if you observe from 2016-17 to 2022, hardly 2-3 questions are from geography, core geography. There may be like related current affairs and all, but core geography, physical geography, the technical questions related to geography, hardly 1 or 2 questions every year. They used to be like 14-15. Now that place has been acquired by environment. Always there will be minimum 12 to 13 questions from environment section, right? So NCERT is the single point source. And if you do not understand any concepts in geography, simply go to the YouTube. Just type the concept name. Like I was not able to understand what do you mean by equatorial that Coriolis force. Coriolis force. I used to type it in YouTube. I used to get 3 to 4 minutes videos. That's it. Simply 4 to 5, not more than 5 minutes videos. You should not watch any videos for information more than 5 minutes. There are some channels also for even current affairs also. There are some channels in YouTube. Vox naam ka ek hai, Crux is there. You just have to watch those 5 to 10, not 10 minutes. 10 minutes should be the ideal time. Don't ever watch anything more than 10 minutes ideally, if it is not that so important, right? So because it will give you the knowledge as well as will be very productive. You should be utilizing your time in that manner, very productive manner, right? So regarding the mains,
Sir,
huh.
so when preparing question paper for prelims, how they will going to divide number of questions from each subject?
That is not known by anyone till now. Everyone try to decipher the way how question paper will be set by UPSC. Some will say that UPSC will ask some central universities heads to give 10 questions each. They will frame. Nothing is sure. UPSC is very opaque regarding how it will frame its question. Only thing you can analyze is previous year question papers. Take last, I will suggest you 2013 to 2021. Last 8 years papers you take, analyze each and every question. I'll tell you, when I was in Mindtree 2015 May, I had downloaded one app. I forward that app actually, civil service questions, something like. It used to have the multiple objective questions of 2001 to 2012. So almost 12 years question papers it had in the digital format, objective type. So always, whenever I used to go to the tea and all, I always used to sit alone and used to solve those questions, simply randomly. So I used to download, many such, multiple choice question apps. Simply whenever I am traveling, commuting from Vijayanagar to, that global village in RV College. So I used to solve 5 to 10 questions. So the coaching class also will conduct, on a daily basis. They may have 5 to 10 questions. Or else, weekly, or you may find innumerable sites which have 5 to 10 question sets. So you keep on solving. The only way to solve prelims, which is a mystery even for me also, is that solve as many number of questions as possible. Even after 2 attempts, even after kind of 2 years of investment in UPSC in a very serious manner, I was not able to clear the prelims. I had got 64 marks in first attempt in 2015 while I was working in Mindtree. Second attempt I got in 2016 it was. Cutoff was 116, but I had got 109.33. So I missed by 7 marks. So in 2017, cutoff was around 105.33. 107.33, something was there. I got 110 exactly. So I cleared the prelims. For that attempt, I had taken advice from my friend who had cleared the forest service exam. So she told me, only thing is that solve as many number of test series as possible. I solved hundreds of test questions. That means 10,000 questions and answers. Are you getting it? One question paper has 100 questions and there are 100 solutions. One question paper usually takes 6 to 7 years of complete, going through. one and a half hours for solving and complete 5.5 hours for analyzing. So I solved like that hundreds of test papers. And also meanwhile I told you, used to download the apps, keep on solving the tests, like that. Not in a proper manner, whenever you get time, right? So related to the mains, many people directly have this confusion, like how to improve our answer writing and all. Unless until you do these basic things, answer writing doesn't make any sense. And one more basic important thing in mains is start diary writing. So you have to write at least 100 words per day. See, for example, you have to forget that you are kind of preparing for UPSC, but you are preparing for some journalistic exam. So you should be like having that expertise. How will you gain that expertise? You just have to write 100 words on any random topic. You put a heading as agriculture, Indian agriculture, you can say. You just put a heading Indian agriculture and start writing it, your opinion. I am telling you, this is the opinion formation way. You have to form your opinion for every damn thing. Only way you can clear this exam is to have your own solid opinion and analysis power. You have to analyze the things. Do not take whatever I am telling also just by face value. You have to analyze, okay, whether I am talking sense or not, right? You have to understand it, internalize the things. Just by knowing it won't be of any help. Internalize it. So Indian agriculture, trust me, it looks very simple. 100 words per day before going to the bed, or even first thing in the morning after waking up or after getting fresh, before starting your study. Try writing 100 words on any random topic. You take India versus Pakistan issue, anything you take. If you are not getting anything to write, you just do one thing. Write what you did from morning till you go to the bed on that particular day. If you are writing the diary just 5 minutes before sleeping, just do whatever your experience was, and then try to, and then you will come to know how difficult it is. It is easier said than done. I had this diary writing habit from 10th school onwards. That's how my English vocabulary had also increased. My friends from English medium, CSE medium, they used to ask me, how did you improve your vocabulary? How did you improve? Now also they ask me from IIM graduates and all, how did you improve your vocabulary? That's so much. I used to post it in Facebook and all, like my story and all, in the Instagram or Facebook, not Instagram, Facebook. That 2016 time, 2014-15 time, I used to write my own blog, just to make sure that it will go in a public domain. I always used to be conscious. Okay, if I am writing something in the public, that has to be refined. That has to be well. So I used to write it in a very conscious manner. The same way, the diary writing practice. You have to write your experience. 100 words per day. That means you are answering one 10-mark question every day. So if you practice it for 30 days at least, if you practice it 30 days, you will come to know like how difficult it is to write an answer. It looks like UPSC mains questions, if you look at, they are very simple, very straightforward. Comment your opinion on Russia-Ukraine conflict. How does it impact India? Simple question, 10 marks. It will come in GS2, International Relations. What will you write? At that point, you have only 7 minutes to write for 10 marks and around 12 minutes to write for the 15 marker. So if you want to have that expertise to write within those minutes, you have to build it like from the scratch, like 30 days at least. Do not jump into writing answers. What the freshers usually do, they directly go to UPSC answer writing. They look at previous question papers and they simply start writing answers. It's of no help. You will not be having any structure. Even I started like that. I am telling you, in 2014 there was BJP government in power. Modi government came, and I told you I used to interact with my friend from Bangalore. I used to send him my copy. Like I was in Hyderabad at that time I was working. So I used to send, one neighbor he used to ask me the question like, what is your opinion regarding cow slaughtering policy, cow slaughtering law in India. I used to write some bullshit answers through, forgive my language, but this the way I used to write, it looks very 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 bad. Like I used to use the political inclination. I used to show my political inclination. I used to express in a very haphazardical manner and all. But only when I started these kind of practice now, that my friend himself told me, the way you used to write 35-40 days earlier and now it's very much difference. It all happened because of these practice. So even if you are not getting anything to write, just forget everything, write what you did from morning to evening and what you want to do in the next 24 hours. Or else you write what is your experience of life from your birth date to till now. Like you have to write your own experience and you have to identify your strength, weaknesses. Have you ever heard this SWOT analysis? Strengths, weakness, opportunities and threats. SWOT analysis, you have to do that. What are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are the opportunities, what are the threats. You have to continuously keep on updating. We are like software. We just have to, downloading will not sufficient. You have to keep updating yourself, right? This is the main method of UPSC answer writing improvement. So what others simply jump into the preparation, they forget it. Then they take multiple. Trust me, so there are so many good people who clear this UPSC prelims just with 10 days of reading. Just 10 days they will clear the prelims, but they will get stuck in the mains. Why? Because they don't know how to implement their knowledge. Just because they are blessed with some background knowledge and all, they will be able to clear the prelims, but they will not be able to put it in a very nice manner, which is expected in UPSC mains. I scored consistently good score in mains. I got hit severely in the interview only. Because of that, my rank was like 307. Otherwise, it would have been 3 or 7 or 37. So, the कहने का मतलब ये है कि I was like very sure about my mains. Why? Because I could able to write these, implement these strategies. I hope you are getting connected. Right.
Sir,
Yeah.
implementing answer in a way of points, is it better?
Yeah. So there are multiple, answers for this. Earlier, what they used to do is paragraph. Like if you write in paragraph, you will be rewarded. They used to tell till 2013-14. So now the scene has changed now. From 2016 onward, if you write in pointers, that will be very good. But if you look at Anudeep Durishetty sir's copy, for mains I am telling you, refer the toppers copies again. Toppers copies which are available free of cost in nets. Okay, toppers copies. If you look at the answer copies of the toppers, you will understand. Anudeep Durishetty especially, he has also written one book how to improve how to write an essay and answer writing in GS. You buy and read that book, worth around 300 rupees, I guess. It is available on Amazon. It's like let me check the title of the book, because his answers are really very nice. Fundamentals of essay and answer writing. It's available on Amazon. Fundamentals of essay and answer writing. I totally referred his suggestions. Fundamentals of essay and answer writing. By Anudeep Durishetty. Okay.
Sir, sometimes when we read the question, we knew the answer, but we forgot how to begin the answer. That time.
That's what that is initiation problem. That inertia will be there because you will be lacking to practice. If you write to practice this, you will automatically have that energy to overcome that inertia, right? See, I told you I started writing some very invalid answer when my friend asked a question regarding cow slaughtering policy. I think I had that screenshot also. I just struck it down midway. What the hell I am writing? I myself, understood what the hell I am writing, because I was very much confused about how to start it. I had not at all practiced anything. So it is better to start this practice, and then you will come to know introduction, body, conclusion. Like usage, this Anudeep Durishetty sir has also written in a very beautiful manner, like how to include the diagrams, algorithms, flowcharts in a different manner. The answer should not be monotonous, right? The answer should be like little bit different. From there are 20 20 questions. You should write all the questions, 20 answers. So all answers should be little bit different from each other. So if you have written one answer in bullet format, you have to write another answer. You have to include diagram in another answer. You have to include like arrow mark. Just a normal cosmetic changes. But what matters most is in any answer is content. For content, you have to refer the way he has written Anudeep Durishetty's copies. Just look at that contents, how much expertise he possesses. How did he gain that expertise? Even I try to copy, emulate him. It's only because of basic knowledge. He also took almost 5 attempts to clear the exam with first rank. So it only depends how you are improving while you are evolving, right? It's constant trial and error method. And trust me, I have not understood how to make notes till now also. But it is like I tried my level best. So I was addicted to this phone set. So I made this as an opportunity itself. I was addicted to the Telegram. I always used to discuss with friends in Telegram. So I made it a point. Okay, why can't I make Telegram as my note making thing for political science especially, and also for GS. So I had two Telegram accounts. So I added myself in my own group. So I used to read in either in mobile or in iPad or in kind of laptop. Some usually in mobile only, the articles. I used to copy paste from directly mobile to that Telegram. It used to sync. I'll show you. There are these things. There was something called as fodder stubs. Okay, fodder stubs. So look at the way I had copied everything. This is related to the political science in 2017 itself. I used to copy paste directly from George W. Bush statement, some scholar statement, and you just have to. Aadhaar is the antithesis of the right to privacy. Some criticism of Aadhaar by some sociologists. So you have to see. Some Napoleon Bonaparte had told that when China will come out of slumber, it will astonish the world. It's simple language. When China will come out of its slumber, that means deep sleep, it will astonish the world. Now what is happening? There's Russia, Ukraine, US, India, everything is related to the rise of China only. So it's a huge fight between India and China in this 21st century for global leadership. Okay, so China has risen like no other country has risen in this universe till now. So it's a threat to all the democracies around the world. So Napoleon Bonaparte had told in that age itself, 18th, 17th, 18th century only, saying that when China comes out of its deep slumber, it will astonish the world. So right like that, when I used to find the interesting quotes, I directly used to copy paste. That will help you in your essay writing and all. That's an art of note making, which I found suitable for myself. So there are some people who have made notes in the OneNote, Evernote. Some people have made notes in the A4 size copies. You have to identify what best suits to you, right? I told you I applied so many trial and error methods. I tried making notes on A4 size sheets also, in OneNote also, Evernote also. I downloaded so many apps. I wasn't sure. Nothing worked for me. So you identify within short time what works for you, right? That's one related to the note making.
What about ethics and writing?
Ethics answer writing. So for that, working experience will also help if you have. Otherwise, also no problem. In ethics, you always have to include the case studies, right? Case studies in the sense that examples. You always include, for example, the corruption scandal in BCCI, cricket related example, ethical dilemma, and then related to the war, Russia, Ukraine. You always include the real time examples. While writing ethical answers, always use real time examples. So for ethics, I had referred a book, lexicon book. Title, I don't know the title of the book. It was published by Lexicon. I felt it was somewhat good, but I also depended on my class notes. In that class, some lecturer by name K.M. Pati, he had explained in a very nice manner about ethical studies. Like when you look at the answer copies of Durishetty, you will come to know like how to start the ethical answer. First, you have to identify the case study. In the case study, you have to identify the actors, right? What are the actors in this case study? Like what is the case about? You have to give briefing about the case and then your solutions, right? And for ethical, standard like definitions, integrity, ethical dilemma, all those things, you will find the answers directly from the book. Any one book. Even our Kannada toppers, D.K. Balaji sir, is 2014-15 batch IAS officer. He is currently posted in Andhra now. He has also written one book on ethics. So you can refer that also. Any one book coupled with your class notes and then your real-time examples, what you see. Whatever you see on the street itself has to be utilized for the answer writing, right? Again, these things will help, the daily answer writing. You have to start. That person, you are present in the last session also. I had told this same thing. I had also told when I come next time, if I ask, you will say the same thing that no sir, I have not started it. You have not started, I am sure. So this is what happened with me also. It is easier said than done. It looks very easy from the kind of prima facie. It looks very easy, right? But unless you practice, nothing will work out. It's like learning the art of swimming. Until you jump into the water, how can you know that? When will you learn the swimming? So simply, I'm telling you, a lot of resources are there in YouTube. Free resources. You don't need to pay any money for that. Everything is, and you also know everything. I told you in the beginning. In this UPSC, almost every people will know what to do. Only thing that differs between toppers and not successful candidates is implementation. Like whatever known things, whether you are implementing it or not, that is the only question. That is why this exam becomes very difficult. This exam is not so difficult as it has been made out, but exam will become difficult for this reason, for not implementing what you know it, right? So always try to implement. Start with, don't take this exam in a very casual manner. I am requesting you, because you are investing your youth, where some of your friends will be earning in terms of lakhs, crores, and you are investing in your time, energy, everything in this. So be sincere towards it. There is only one life we have, so you are investing it in a very productive manner. Unlike your friend circle, they are investing in a different productivity, like earning money. But here you are investing your time and energy not to earn money but to do the service. It's a national service you are aspiring for, right? You have to have that at back of your mind. So you have to internally get motivation. You have to find the answer for that question, right? So anything else other than this?
Regional language.
Regional language, this Kannada or any other regional language, it's just qualifying in mains. For that you refer your school textbook, that's enough. They will ask some grammars or some essay writing. You just have to practice, when the mains exam is like around 1 month away. It's not a
Exactly,
big-
this was for international relations.
What?
This was for international relations.
International relations, Indian Express, the Hindu articles. But if you are having political science optional and all, then there are sites like Project Syndicate, where all the noted, persons like former foreign secretaries, former external affairs ministers, they all will come and write, like Shashi Tharoor and all.
Can you suggest some magazine names, particular magazine name?
For
Magazine for current affairs.
current affairs. For current affairs, I had studied this Vision IAS, but now it has become useless because
So some used to tell that from down to earth
down
magazine
to-
direct questions will come.
down to earth is for geography especially. It was very much relevant. It was run by some Center for Science and Environment activist. Someone is there. I have forgotten her. CSE, Center for Science and Environment. They will publish this Down to Earth magazine. But even during my preparation also, people used to say, but I never followed it. Again, it depends. If you go through 20 to 25 year, previous toppers interviews. Why I am insisting 20 to 25? It is not a fixed number. You can read 15 also, you can read 30 also. But on an average, if you read 20 members, you will directly know like what all other toppers are suggesting in common. You don't have to do anything different from what they are suggesting, right? Of course, rational things. Some will suggest you don't need more than 4 hours. No, it is not. So you understand what is rational and what is irrational thing, right?
Sir, what is the source for Indian agriculture?
The NCRTs is there, geography book, yeah, and then current affairs, and these prime minister speeches, president speeches, chief justice of India speeches. You have to keep on reading. RBI governor speeches and all, right? Finance minister, RBI governor, and then the press briefing of the leaders. Like yesterday, that Chinese foreign minister visited India. Like there was a press conference. There was a press release by PIB. So you have to read those. What are the purpose of visits? What happened in the meeting and all. You have to understand the things. Only reading will not help. Okay, you have to internalize that. Internalize and implement. I'm telling you, if you do not write if you do not practice this, diary writing, it is as good as not listening to the class itself. I mean, it looks like very easy. You try and you yourself will understand. Just 100 words per day. That's it. You can write 50 words, during around 10, 11 o'clock, and you can complete the remaining 50 words even after dinner also. No problem. But try to write. From today itself. Don't wait for anything. If you are really sincere about this exam, you have to start practicing that. And about the tests, this institute also conducts tests weekly or monthly or whatever yearly. You just have to have one test plan. You have to practice that, right? Unless until you start, tests and all, you will not be able to identify the mindset of question paper setters. What kind of options they are giving. See, this exam requires, especially prelims, is about eliminations. How will you eliminate the available option to arrive at the right option? If you do not know the right option, at least you should know what are the wrong option. Right? Out of the given 4 choices, A, B, C, D, you should, even if you don't know the correct answer, you should know out of 4 options what is the wrong answers, wrong options, so that you can easily eliminate it. So look at the previous year question papers. Those are very much important. Anything else? Anything you want to know, like not related to the UPSC or anything?
Sir, considering like the questions and mains are asked based on like opinions, how do we in case like the examiners who will be correcting our papers, what is the opinion just like differs?
Yeah, that's what even the opinion differs, that examiner will appreciate the way of your presentation, how you presented your opinion, whether it is as per the demand of the question or not. See, if I am a government servant, if I am evaluating something, if I want to if the question was related to the criticism of some policy, despite being a government servant, only because you have criticized it, I will not give you less marks. I will give you good marks only when you meet the demand of the question. You have analyzed it in a proper manner or not. You have given the rational solution or not, like that. Way forward should be like optimistic conclusions. That matters. And these things you will come to know when you understand how the answer should be written, right? And if you go through the toppers copies are available free of cost in Google anytime. Like just type previous year toppers copies. That's it. Anything else?
So this last is essay question paper. The questions were like out of the box.
Yeah.
How we
Like,
approach the questions?
From last 3 years onward, I think from 2018 onwards, they are asking some philosophical questions.
We are like not getting how to
Yeah. So again, the single point of solution for these dilemmas is to practice. That is the only way, because essay is what? You need to write minimum 1000 to 1500 words, right? So if you are not able to write 100 words per day without any time limits, you will not be able to write 1500 words in 3 hours time limit. So you understand that. So to reach to that level, I told you to practice it 30 days. 30 days is the minimum time. You can take 40-45 days. So you start writing now. Unless until you start jumping into the water, you won't be able to learn swimming. Trust me, it is not a simple job. Simple task to nahi hai, bilkul nahi. You have to understand it. And then I'll tell you, to write 100 words initially you can take 30 to 40 minutes, 45 minutes, no problem. Today you can take 30 to 45 minutes to write something on some topic on 100 words. And then by the time you reach 7th or 10th day of this practice, you will automatically take around 20 to 25 minutes. There will be some drastic reduction in the time you take to write something. Again, someone has told practice makes human perfect. Like that, you just have to keep practicing it consciously. Do not do anything unconsciously. Involve yourself, understand what you are doing, and then implement it. Right? So I told you, if you do not practice, it's of no use. Even after 5 years, if I come also, you will be saying the same thing. So this happened with me, I am telling you. So always focus on implementations, right? So without implementation, this becomes very tiring. Trust me, if you are from middle class families and all, especially even for the women and all, there will be marriage pressure, there will be family pressure, there will be a lot of issues. For men and all, there will be financial constraints and all. So to deal with this, you need to be very sincere. You have to be very sincere because the competition itself is just like that. You be honest with yourself. You don't have to be accountable to anyone, including your parents, your siblings, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. You be accountable to your own your own self. If you practice all these things, you will. I hope I made some sense in the last 1.5 hours I spoke. So these are the important things. And if you have any doubt, you can always approach me in the Telegram at my ID at Girish Kalagond Girish Kalagond. This is my Telegram ID. You can always approach for any doubts.
So what were the mistakes you came through when you was in preparation, sir?
Yeah, the main first mistake I identified myself was I always used to depend on multiple resources. I am telling you, politically, Lakshmikant have to be read. I had also read D.D. Basu, which is of no use. Again, for current affairs, you have to read only either the Hindu full or the Indian Express full and selective articles of either paper. I always used to focus on reading the Hindu full and then again the Indian Express code, which is of no use. Huge wastage of time. And this struck me just now. Ki always make sure that by the by every day by 10 a.m. you should be done with your newspaper reading, no matter how much hour it is taking you. Like initially, newspaper itself will take 2.5 hours. By the time you keep on, like by month or 40-45 days, you will be able to read newspaper within 1 hour. So don't I don't mind how much amount of time you give, but by 10 a.m. every day, you should be done with your newspaper reading, so that the remaining time in a day can be planned in a very effective manner. If you extend after 10 a.m., no, the whole half the day before lunch will be gone for news preparation. So you will not be productive at all. So I had identified this. I always used to waste a lot of time in newspaper, so I cut down it. So I followed this rule, 10 a.m. Right? And another rule I am telling you, another mistake I have realized, when I told you I studied in a reading room or library, okay? But sometimes I used to go to room to sleep and all. So in the afternoon and all, if I go to room and try to sleep for 10-15 minutes, that used to turn out like 3 hours sleep, 4 hours sleep. So that's the mistake, conscious mistake. So I tried to avoid it. So what I did, I followed not more than 1 hour away from library. When the exam is at least 100 days away, not more than 1 hour away from your study table. That means whatever you do, you read for 2 hours and take a break of 30 minutes, no problem. But you have to be back to your study table by within 1 hour. Like you study or not doesn't matter, but you have to sit in your study table. Like in the library, what I used to at 1:30 I used to go for lunch. Earlier, what I used to do, the mistake was to go and sleep and come back at 5:30. So when I started following this rule, not more than 1 hour away, by 2:30 I used to be back in my reading room. I used to sleep in reading room also. It's not that I avoided it, but not more than 15-20 minutes it used to be. Because automatically we'll wake up in a reading room if you are sleeping, and if you are sleeping in the your comfortable room. So that makes a huge difference. There used to waste 2 hours. Now it has come down to just 15-20 minutes wastage. It is not wastage. In fact, it's a power nap. So it will boost your memory also. Like this. And then what other mistakes? Continuously watching some YouTube videos. Even after getting the knowledge, crux of the matter, I kept watching, which is of no use. If you have got this, WH things, wife and husband questions, like why, what, where, when, how, these things, if you got answers for this, for example, again I am taking Russia, Ukraine. If you know what, where, why, when, how, these factors, move on to the next topic. You take India-China border clash. You take, agricultural issues, economic issues, petrol, diesel price increase. You just know WH. UPSC also expects this much only. You have to know the crux of everything. It's not, that if you take the last 1 month's newspapers, there are continuous articles on Russia-Ukraine issue. What will you do with that? You just have to write 150 words or 250 words, not more than that. If you have the sufficient material, just go to the next topic, because the exam will not be only on one topic, right? It's vast exam. So if you waste multiple, much time on single topic, then it's of no use. I used to do that mistake. Like I always used to focus on international relations, whereas my geography used to suffer, my economy used to suffer. Properly manage the time, okay? Any other questions?
Sir, anything regarding the interview?
Yeah, interview is very normal process. I'm telling you, interview is more hyped in YouTube. Okay, so they won't ask you what is the background of your wall, how many steps you climb to come to the office. No, they won't ask such silly questions. It's a very formal process. They are very experienced gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen sitting over there, and they have 30 years of experience with their lives of government service. There will be everyone, including IAS, IPS, IRTS, any other central civil services, or even from RBI, BARC, or else, this thing, DRDO, ISRO, everyone, any intellectual will come there. Like there will be panel of 5 members, 5-member panel. Okay, out of 5 members, one will be the chairman of that interview panel. That chairman will be the official member of UPSC. You will study in polity that UPSC can have 10 or more members. UPSC members, it's a constitutional position. That member will be the chairman of that interview panel. So the rest 4 people will be retired bureaucrats or serving bureaucrats or some other psychologist or some other people of some expertise, right? So out of 5 members, every candidate will be given almost 20 to 30 minutes on an average. It depends on the panel to panel, right? So some people will be interviewed within 15 minutes and some will be interviewed for 45-50 minutes. Depends on the panel. So both the times I had got different panels. Like my interview was scheduled in after the lunch hours at 2 o'clock. So the first in 2017 it was by UPSC chairman himself, Arvind Saxena. He was a chairman at that time. So he started asking questions, normal questions. There is something called as DAF, detailed application form. Once you clear the mains, there will be DAF which you need to fill. That DAF will be having details of everything of your life from the birth to till now. Like it is a 10-page form. They will ask every details, like from which region you are, which city, your father, mother, your family details, hobbies, your interests, like everything they will be having. And they will break the ice initially for 10-15 minutes. This DAF is the source for that. Like they will just keep so Girish, tell me the meaning of your name. What is the meaning of your surname? Your father name is Dharmaraj. So you know any stories related to the Mahabharata. So they just try to break the ice momentum. After that, they start asking normal questions. Whatever you read in the UPSC YouTube video and all, they're all like not the truth. Like there will be stress, of course. Stress in the sense we'll be having too much of expectation burden. Or what they will ask, They won't ask anything other than what you have studied. That is what they will ask. See, Russia-Ukraine conflict is happening right now again. They will simply ask, so Girish, tell me what is your opinion regarding this, war escalation? How does it impact India? What measures you will take as a foreign secretary? If you are a foreign secretary, what measures you will take to protect India's interest? That's a simple question for which you must have definitely read, right? You just have to tell your opinion. So Girish, you tell me that the Make in India policy has failed. Do you really agree that? Do you agree with this? Or do you want to suggest anything? Like they will ask simple questions. If you have written mains and qualified, that means you will be having the knowledge regarding these things. It's a normal conversation. It's not something, and whatever you answer, based on that they will ask the counter questions. That's it. Counter questions are also very normal questions only. So for that, interview requires a thorough preparation. Thorough preparation in the sense, in mains you don't need to answer anybody. Just you have to write whatever you know. In interview, it's a face-to-face interaction and instant interaction. So you need to have sufficient knowledge to answer them, right? And if you do not know answer, they will appreciate it. If you tell them, sir or madam, I am extremely sorry, I need to update my knowledge on this. They will appreciate the honesty. In interview, what matters most is how much honest you are with your personality.
So they're gonna ask questions from our educational background, something like engineering background.
They will ask for me. They asked, so I had neglected that. So I had written like in 12th standard. I had written my subjects like physics, chemistry, biology instead of writing just PCMB. So they saw that in my DAF, some gentleman was there, probably from some IIT or some other institute. So he picked up one word, chemistry. So Girish, you have included chemistry as your subject you have studied in 12th standard. So do you mind if I ask you questions on chemistry? So if I had said, no sir, I am not well versed with it, he would have appreciated it. we would have moved to the different questions. But I overthought myself what he will consider like. So I thought, okay, sir, you can ask, no problem. Then he started bombarding questions, basic questions, very basic. What do you mean by atom? What do you mean by that chemical reaction? What do you mean by chemical reaction? Tell the definition of chemical reaction. There are definitions, we have studied these in school days, but how can you remember? So I was not able to remember. Even if you tell no to almost 10 answers also, 10 questions, they won't do anything, any harm. They just want to know how much honest you are with yourself. So they just want honest answers. It is not called as interview, by the way. In the first place, it is called as personality test. So personality can be molded in different manners. So they try to identify what kind of a person you are. There are some 5 basic personality types and 16 major subtypes as per some MBTI test, MBTI personality test. So they will try to identify what kind of a person you are, whether you are suitable for the administration or not. Though they are also not, nobody can decide your personality within 20-30 minutes. But you have to be very shrewd enough to be very courageous, very polite, very straightforward, very clear about what you know about. All these things matters. Something called as officer-like qualities, OLQs. It is very much required for the military, okay, armed forces. So now they will, evaluate those OLQs only. There are, if you type OLQs in Google, you will come to know there are 15 OLQs, officer-like qualities. They will identify that only. How much of you have? So anything else? I hope I covered all 3 aspects like prelims, mains, interview. So this is for all the freshers and even for the experienced. I am telling you, you know everything. Let me be very clear about this. You know many things which I may not be knowing, but if you don't implement them, it's as good as not knowing it, right? That I used to watch present NSC, National Security Advisor Ajit Doval's speeches and all. He had beautifully told like regarding power. He had told in some speech that power is as good as you exercise it. See, for example, if I have 50,000 rupees, if I am starving, if I don't find a food and all, what will you do with that 50,000 if you are starving? 50,000 foods, Manish, if you purchase something and eat something, you will survive. Like power is like that. You have global power and all. If you do not use it, it's as good as not having it. Just like that, study, knowledge. If you do not use your knowledge for your study, research purpose, it's like as good as not having it. So use it for your own benefit. And what will you do after becoming an officer is a different story altogether. It's like, you will understand how complex the system is once you come to the service and all. But before that, you have to be very, very, very clear about what you want. Like self-motivation and all. Right? Yeah.
Sir, it's out of these patterns, is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, sir, you said the main thing for us is to know why civil service exams. So why civil service exams for you, sir? Why?
I told you that I always wanted to work in the Prime Minister's office, South Block.
Only that, sir.
Yeah, this was my raw actually. So research and analysis wing. I wanted to work in the security establishment.
Sir, in one of your interviews, you said that you are expecting this one.
IRS, I think.
Yes, IRS, but you got IRTS.
Yeah, it all depends on the number of vacancies and the number of eligible candidates. Like in our batch, they had notified around 784 vacancies in 2018 CSE notification. So they had recruited around 759. 759 and later on they recruited some more and took it to around 784, 785 only. But out of, at that time, if I had got 307 rank in 2017 exam instead of 2018 exam, I would have got IRS IT only, income tax. Because at that time, the vacancies are very much high in IRS IT, like more than 100, 130 for the general category. But in our time, For general category, the vacancies were drastically reduced. Like from 100 to it came down to 30 or 25. So by the time they reached rank 240, no, my friend had got rank 240. He was highly expecting IPS service, but IPS he was expecting IPS. He did not even get IRS IT because at 238 itself IRS IT had ended. So he got customs, IRS customs, but again he wrote the exam and got into the IAS. So by the time they reached 307th, IRTS started at 268 only, 268, 267. So by the time they came to my rank, I had not remained with any other choice but IRTS, because they will ask the preferences. First preference was IAS, second was IPS, third was IFS, foreign service, fourth was income tax, fifth was customs, sixth was Indian Audit and Account Service, and seventh was IRTS. So Indian Audit and Account Service also was ended within 260 only. So IRTS was my next preference, though they allocated this like this. So it all depends. Like this year, in June 2022 exam, they have almost 1011 vacancies. From last 2 years, this IRTS, IRES, IRPS service have been removed. They have merged now. They all have become one called as IRMS, Indian Railways Management Service. So with the addition of railways services now, 150 seats have been increased. So earlier they had notified around 820 plus, I guess. So now they have added 150 more railway services. So again we came back. So 1011 posts are there. So it depends on vacancies and then ranks. So you have to know the cutoffs also for various categories. For general category, for OBC, for SC, ST, and for EWS. How much is there for your category and where you fall down, you analyze from last 5 years. This exam is totally dependent on how much analytical power, how much opinionating power you have. You have to have balanced opinion on everything, and that opinion should be based on proper analysis. Analyze every damn thing. Instead of judging or analyzing human beings, analyze the issues. And focus on analyzing issues.
So what about medical test? What if you fail in medical test?
And they will give time like 6 months to 1 year they will give to improve your medical things. Within that, if you do not able to improve, then gone case. So if you are overweight or underweight, if you are having some surgical issues and all, that can be solved by medical intervention. They will give time, sufficient time. But because of that, for example, color blindness, if you have, you are not eligible for IPS like that. Simple. That cannot be cured. So these are all very normal things. Any other questions?
How to
Anything?
avoid social media?
No, that is very much important, because I am telling you, by being the victim of that Telegram, I told you, Telegram is also form of social media only. So I used it to my advantage. If you are not able to come out of it, try to identify the ways to make it as a productive thing, right? So use your Instagram channel, only subscribe to those accounts which give you information, right? If you are not able to come out of this Instagram or Facebook and all, only follow those accounts which are giving you the knowledge, information. All electronic gadgets and all are not for human destabilization. They are for human improving human knowledge only. But compulsive behavior, that compulsive behavior will make things worse. So come out of that compulsive behavior by identifying the ways to channelize it properly. I told you Telegram. I made it a source for my own note making, like that. Now also I am trying to avoid mobile from last 2 years. I am not able to. So I am trying to read. If I take a mobile, I will always open this, either Twitter, I will read the international comments, or else I will read the Times of India news, just for current affairs. Though I am not giving any more UPSC exam and all. I'm like done with the UPSC and all. So I'll be posted in Bangalore or Mysore or Hubli only, from July onwards. So I just want to read the current affairs for my own personal knowledge. So use it for your own good, but telling you, try to avoid, because I did not have any Instagram account or Facebook also I deactivated, and WhatsApp also I did not install till 2019. Okay, I opened my Instagram account only after getting ranked. I did not know how to use it also. So don't be like attached to the social media compulsively. Use it. Like, you definitely need entertainment. It is not that you will be bookish warm and then you will read. That will become very boring. Entertainment also should be part of it, but at the same time, use it productively. Right? You also should not stop watching movies or socializing, but in a very, very, very limited manner. I told you, when the exam is 100 days away now, all these social gatherings have to be stopped. Like, if you go for social gathering for 1 or 2 days, the after effects, the ripple effects will be continued for at least for 3-4 days. So your productivity will be lost unknowingly. So you have to be very sure about it. I never went for party, but there are exceptions also. Some people used to party every weekend, but they are very sincere about what they have to do in the weekdays. But they clear this exam. But I told you, they were very clear about what to do in the weekdays. They did very sincere job in the weekdays, and one day they used to go for partying and all. That's okay, perfectly fine. So it all depends on individual, inclinations. I was never a party person. Like, if I went to meet some friends and all in the weekends and all, again Monday and Tuesday used to go bad for me. So I identified it is not for me. So I left all the social gatherings. I always used to glue to the mobile or else talking to the friends. That's it. Boredom will be always there. That is, I told you, as your boyfriend, girlfriend will be accompanying you throughout. So you should be consciously addressing that. Okay. Don't have that moral strength, moral character. I'll suggest you to watch this Field Marshal Shyam Maneksha's speech. It's a 40+ minute speech, 45 minutes speech on leadership. Like, he has excellently, I have never seen a speech as good as beautiful as he is. Like, he has explained it with sense of humor. You will laugh, you learn. It's the PDF copy is also available in the Google. Search it, Field Marshal Shyam Maneksha on leadership. So you just have to identify what best suits to you and implement it, rather than simply wondering. And if you do not involve what you know, as I said, it's of no use. Because we are all adults. We know what is good, what is bad, right? That it comes down to that simple thing, simple aspect. If you know what is good and what is bad, you have to do what is good for you, right? If you are able to differentiate, nothing is good and bad, by the way. It all depends on perception. As per your perception, you identify what is good for you, what is bad for you. And if you feel something is bad for you, don't do it. Something is good for you, do it. That's simple. So I wish you all the very best. If you don't have any more questions.
So is there any political interference?
Where? In the service?
Yes.
Services, it depends. Like, IAS, IPS with obviously.
How do they handle the political pressure?
That you will learn, on field only. It's not that it will be taught in some training institutes. And you will be understanding it when you come to the field. And trust me, no politician interfere to do the bad work. No one will tell you to clearly to do the bad work. Nobody will do that. However bad a politician is, nobody will tell any officer to do the bad work. That never happens. Contrary to the public perception, of course. Public, including even I used to believe politicians are bad, they will interfere and all. They will not interfere you to do the bad work, never. Things are very subtle, they are also very rational. Politicians are the very good managers actually. Very, very, very good managers. It's not simple to handle the whole constituency. the whole constituency of lakhs of people. We are not able to fulfill the demands of hundreds of our subordinates. They have to fulfill the demands of the whole constituency, right? So it is a very tedious task. And trust me, as we see on the newspapers or news channels and all politicians are not that bad. They will definitely have a good inclination. Otherwise, the country would have not come to this level. At least we have seen the developments. So all these things won't matter as long as you are preparing, focusing only on the policy aspects. Do not read anything related to the politics. And sports also, if you want to skip this cricket, badminton, all those you can. There is no harm in it. Sometimes, last time they asked 4 questions on
New Zealand.
sports also. So focus only on the major headlines at least, right? So any other questions? You can always connect me on this Telegram ID. So and I'm requesting you, in fact, do not use Instagram and all much because those are all addictive. Like if you start watching some reels and all, you keep on watching it. So it will not end. So it's like a exam divided for an adult. We should be like adults. We should not be told by somebody else to do this thing, that thing. We have to understand ourselves. So anything, any questions are even now also welcome, if you have. And please have a group of 1 or 2 friends and discuss honestly only regarding UPSC, nothing else. You know how it is like, how a difficult task. That's why I told you, the biggest thing required for this exam is patience. If you do not possess that patience, then it will be very difficult, right? Anything you can ask me, in the Telegram if you have any doubts. Don't hesitate, okay? Till June I am free only, till June, because it's a training. Probably in the June month we will be having exams, so I'll be busy for a week or 10 days. So till at least June 10th or June 15th I'll be free. You can ask me anytime, no problem. So after that, it depends on my workload. IRTS work pressure is too much, extremely high, because trains will never take off on weekends. So our job is to handle everything related to the train all over India. Like 17 zones, you will study about the railway zones. Like Southwestern Railways is also one zone. Like that, there are 17 zones. The country has divided in 17 zones. So we have to integrate with all the zones. It's a very complex job. Prima facie, it looks like we always believe, even I also cursed the train operations when I was an aspirant, because no train will reach destination at time. It happens for a reason. It's not without a reason and a rational reason. It is very difficult. A single 1 minute loss of concentration by some operators, one case, thousands of lives will be lost. You have to be very careful. So that's a different story which will not be known to the public. So it's a very tedious job. Once we go to the field, we will be on job 24/7, 365 days. Even on weekends also, we will get hundreds of calls for technicalities. So it's like that. So till that time, I'm free only. You can ask any questions if you have. But sincere request is, implement what you know, right? If you don't know something, you can ask anytime, but implement it properly. All the very best to all.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll end my session here.
So,
Yeah.
we have only around 70 days for parents now. So any tricks?
For 70 days, you just have to solve as many number of questions as possible. There is no other way. Questions and then revisions. Even for the freshers also, revisions are very much important. Whatever you have studied, when the exam is 45 days away, you should not read anything new. Whatever you have studied, you have to repeat that only. Because what you read newly will remain in your memory for 1 week. If you read the same thing twice, it will remain in your memory for 10 to 15 days. If you read the same thing thrice, it will remain minimum 2 to 3 months like that. That memory pattern works like that. That is why everyone stresses upon revision. Revision. revision karte raho, like keep on revising the things. Whenever you are commuting in public transport, you just have to look at what you did, revise the things. Use every damn hour available with you, right? Every damn hour is very important.
Should we face those standard books fully?
Not needed. You know, page-to-page reading or word-to-word reading is also not important. You always have this syllabus copy, okay? Do not read other than the syllabus copy. You just have look at the topics, subtopics, and read it, right? You understand what is the, and also once you go through the previous year question papers, you will come to know what is important and what is not important, right? You focus on only the syllabus, topics mentioned in the syllabus. All the very best then.
Thank you so much, sir.
Bye. So you can approach me on Telegram if you need anything. Okay. All the best again.
Thank you so much.